Iburu, Iboya, Ibuche, everybody in Cyberland. It's your favorite Babalao. At least I hope so. Omodun Dileke coming at you with a special video. And this is a part two because I had did a part one about a year ago in order to honor Oya. Oya's feast day is amongst us until February. And I recently had somebody tell me, "Oh, yeah, it's feast day. Okay, you know what I mean? Are you leading a ceremony or something like that?" I said, "No, no, no, no." I said, "This house is a house of Oya because my wife is crowned Oya. So that particular feast day means something to us." So, with that said, I want to remind people who is truly Oya. So I want to go ahead and let's just start and let's jump right in. But before I do, please hit the subscribe, the like, and the share. I want these videos to go out. I want to be able to tell people what's on my mind in order for me to properly educate. One, two, sometimes I gain perspective and people comment and say, "Hey, what about this or what about that?" And it gives me more data to add to the next time around. Like I told you all before, we're here to learn together in one environment so that we can actually get the truth out. And there's no need to get the truth out and expect something in return. Nah, get the knowledge, get what you need. All right, so let's jump right in. So, who is Oya? When we think Oya, we think of a warrior Orisha. In the divinities, in the Ocha, in the Regla de Osha, there are such things as non-warriors and warrior divinities. All right, but not to get too deep into that, let's talk about Oya and let's understand that she is a warrior divinity. So what does that mean? That means she's powerful. That means she's fierce. That means that ceremonial aspects of Oya are going to be different than the counterparts that are not warriors. Fair? Okay, what else do we want to know about Oya? A lot of times when we hear Oya, we understand that her number, right? Her sacred number is the number 9. Right? And when we think of 9, what do we think? We think Eguns. When anybody does anything with Orun or Teja de Egun, everything is 9. So you begin to understand that there is a deep correlation between the number 9 and Egun. And now you notice a deep correlation between the number 9, Egun, and Oya. Then I begin to tell you that there's patakis, and patakis are designed to give you the ethics and morals of certain stories in order for us to be instilled as mankind, as humans, in order to take the good word and preach it and be better people. But then we got to look at patakis as the secrets of our faith, some secrets that we need to understand. Oya is known as Yansa. And when we think about Yansa, we think about what is the translation of Yansa. And typically it means Yansa is 9. But not just 9, but 9 children. And you begin to break down the aspects of what is Yansa. But then when you say 9 children, we also have to put some correlation to the Pataki that talks about her having 9 children. And who is she strictly close to, and who is the father of these 9 children? I had a mentor tell me long ago that the divinities don't have a sex. There is no males, there is no females. So there is some truth to that aspect. But for all intents and purposes, when we talk about patakis, we need to understand that these are messages, these are secrets, these are ethic and moral standards that are given to us as mankind so that we understand what the good word is, right? So then we talk about again, Yansa, 9 children. For anybody who doesn't know, Oya and Chango, that's your perfect pair. It's your perfect matrimony. 2 warriors, unbelievably strong. And, you know, that's where the 9 children come from when you look at the patakis and the stories of Oya. Then, when I truly peel back that onion, we try to see that Oya did have a marriage in the patakis, And she has a very strong connection to Ogun, which is why we always see the representation of Oya with a machete, because them two were married in many patakis. But Chango was always the true love of Oya. But then when we start to peel back that onion a little bit, we understand that there was a lot of chaos based on that very aspect, which is the love between Chango and Oya. Because this is where Chango and Ogun went to war. And they nearly destroyed the world based on their feuds. And it was Obatala that had to come down and had to squash that and bring peace. Because if not, it would have been done. They were destroying each other. To a certain aspect, we say Obatala came down and squashed and brought calmness and tranquility back because of Chango and Ogun. But let me put this other aspect into perspective when we talk about Oya. We talk about that without Oya, Obatala cannot function. What does that mean? Olodumare charged Obatala to create mankind with a mold. And he was going to breathe life into them. Through the process of time and evolution, Obatala now becomes the owner of all heads. And you hear that a lot in the Deleguns, and you hear that a lot in Ocha, right? But if a baby's in the womb and a baby is born, the first thing the baby does is take the breath, air. And we think of Oya, and we think of Oya in so many different aspects that we forget that she's the wind. And not only is she the wind, but she's also that first breath of life. So now let's pay attention to the correlation of Oya with life. Not just eguns, but life. Then we talk about the aspect of death again. And when someone is in their deathbed, we call it, right? Just an analogy. And they take their last breath. And now they move on to the other side. Was that last breath taken from Oya? Did she take it? And now that person is crossed over? So do we not see a connection now with Oya as she relates to the cemetery? And we'll talk kind of a little bit about that later on. So I bring that so that you can understand some of the aspects that it took Obatala to come down to squash a war between Chango and Ogun, but Obatala cannot really function without Oya because we talk about the breath of life and death. Then that kind of brings me back to other aspects of stories, right? So when we talk about the side of death, a lot of times we hear that Oya is correlated with the cemetery. And a lot of times people say Oya is the queen of the cemeteries, and that's not true. Oya is not in the cemetery, she's at the gate of the cemetery. Because her function is very specific. Her function is to ensure that she is taking notes of who is being received on the side of the egg boom. So for every death, for every breath that she has snatched, because now it's time for that person to go, she is now writing it down in her magical book, right? So let's just kind of play it out with illusions, right? So she's got her ledger and she's writing the names out. All right, John Smith, here you go. Jose, Maria, okay, go, time to go. And that's the correlation of her keeping track of all the egg wounds. That's why she's so powerful with the egg wounds. That's why she correlates with the 9 of the egg wounds. That's why she has so many packs with different egg wounds. With Iku, okay? With the throne of Iku, with Odudua. And we can go on, and that story can go on and on and on. But we talk about a lot of those correlations. But then as we further dig in, we also think about Oya being referred to in the art of the marketplace. And we say, but why? She's just at the gates of the cemetery taking names. But I just told you that when someone is born, they take that first breath, right? And babies are born. In the reference of marketplace, and this is something that my wife and I were literally talking about today. When we talk about marketplace, you got to understand that there is a operative way of understanding that our faith goes back, way, way back, right? We're talking about Big Bang. We're talking about, I could break Ifa down to the molecule and to your blood cells and your skeleton. It's ridiculous. But think about this: a marketplace. As time evolved, and we talk about cavemen, we could talk about the dark ages. We could talk about just about anything. Everyone has always been able to centralize themselves into a place where people were able to sell things, right? That's the market, right? Whether it was the dark ages, whether you had a bunch of cavemen and everybody knew how to centralize because they knew that at the near the river, um, that's where all the animals went. So that's where all the hunters went, and they all traded there until they got smart enough to they realized, let's build a centralized spot where everybody can come, because maybe we need more than just food and water. Maybe we need spices, and then you have trade routes and all this other stuff. But everybody always centralized themselves, and that central place was always called the marketplace. And then as time evolved, leaders and warriors and dictators, they will use that marketplace as a place as a bulletin, right? To tell people what the new law is, what the new taxes are. The person is born, a person just got married, a person died. Ah, somebody got married, somebody was born, and somebody died. When we talk about the aspects of marriage, we talk about a communion, right, of people. But when I talk about marriage, I also want you to put another aspect view that relates very closely to life and death. We talk about the aspects of going through an Ocha ceremony, being crowned Ocha. Do we not take the Ayawo to the plaza, the marketplace? And then you have to ask yourself why. Because Oya is not just in charge of standing at the gates of a cemetery. Hell, there was no cemeteries at one point in time. Cemeteries is a new age thing. Think about it. If you go back, you could only go back so far before you realize there were cemeteries. Yeah, there might have been graves. And if you go to Africa, people were getting buried in the backyard. People were getting buried right there. That's the patio right there. Whoop, put them right on in. And then when Uncle Bob dies, you're gonna throw Uncle Bob in the same grave. And they had themselves scattered out. But there was no cemetery. Oh, yeah, is in every aspect of our lives: life, death, and when you initiate and you're born into the cult of Ocha, the cult of Ifa. Because those are now a transcendent. So when we transcend, we die and we're reborn. Oya's there watching us. So that's where the marketplace comes in. Then we talk about some of the ceremonial aspects of things that needs to be made that needs to be understood. For all those who study carefully the secrets of our faith, and this is not a secret but a story, we also remember that our lovebirds, Oya and Chango, at one point in time had to separate. Because Oya is a very powerful being, and Oya, very intuitive. Oya learns secrets, and Oya, at a certain point, doesn't know when those secrets are supposed to be revealed and not supposed to be revealed. And that causes some conflict. So they had to be split. And you'll hear many stories in different patakis of that they split up because Chango and Yamaya were eating, the ram. Or you'll hear about the fact that Chango was out to go kill Oya, and Oya had to sacrifice her kids, and the kids were the rams. So there are a lot of different aspects of that pataki, but it tells us about the fierce nature of why sometimes we do things, and why daughters of Oya don't crown Chango. And based on the pataki of Chango and Yemaya and the ram, daughters of Oya do not crown Yemaya, and vice versa. So there's a lot of mystery and mystic secrets within these patakis that we always need to pay attention to. Another reason why we see the feud, and I won't necessarily call it a feud, but I will call it a sisters getting after each other. Right? And you talk about a famous pataki of when Yemaya and Oya, when they say that Oya was the true queen of the sea. And based on trickery, they tricked Oya, and some things happened. And Yemaya actually had the gates of the cemetery. And because of the trickery, Oya was tricked and became the gatekeeper, basically, the scribe of all the Eguns. So there's different things and different aspects of things that you really got to kind of put into perspective when you think about Oya and who she truly is. There's also things about Oya when you hear about Patakis that for every time or Chango goes to war, Oya is already there. There's an old saying that for every time Chango goes to war, Oya has already defended him 4 or 5 times. So Chango is already about to throw that first strike and doesn't even realize that Oya has already taken care of him to reinforce the love bond between Chango and Oya. So there's quite a few things there. There's quite a few things, and we can talk about Oya all day. But I wanted to say Mafarafun Oya on her feast day for 02 February. So if you have a moment, please do your part. Give Mafarafun honor, right? Mufurubale to Oya, so we can better understand who is Oya, what does Oya offer us, our fate, mankind, life itself, and what does she offer death, because the Eguns are the most important as well. So with that said, I just want to make sure I share that with you today because February 2nd is right around the corner. So Iburu, Iboya, Ibucheche, Cyberland. Hope you enjoyed this video. As always, leave us a comment, shoot us an email, la.regla.de.ifa@gmail.com. That's la.regla.de.ifa@gmail.com. Iburu, Iboya, Ibucheche.